Jeremy, can you tell me why you're here? Why are you here to see Patrick Honohan?
Well, because we have a number of questions that we've been chasing down for a number of months. When I was on the election trail, standing as an MEP candidate in Ireland South, there were a number of questions I asked the Fine Gael candidates. What was going to happen to the money that's being raised from the sale of the promissory note bonds? They couldn't or wouldn't answer the question. I know what's going to happen. I mean, anybody who is informed knows what's going to happen. The money is going to be destroyed. But they couldn't and wouldn't say that. We then, after that campaign was over, we then put those questions in the form of parliamentary questions to the Finance Minister Michael Noonan, the man who set up the deal, the promissory note deal. He refused on 3 separate occasions to answer your question. Each time he was just bumping us off like that. This is the business of the central bank, and this is their business only, and we don't interfere in this, as if basically I know nothing about it. Okay. So we've decided we'll look for a meeting with Patrick Honohan of the central bank. He has granted the meeting. We're going in there. The last time we went inside these doors, it was just Fiona and myself representing the Ballyhea and Charleville group, and we didn't have a mandate from anybody. This time we're going in there. We have 2 MEPs with us. We have also, we've just met Lynn Boylan, the Sinn Féin MEP, and they're all with us as well. Okay. And we have 2 TDs with us representing the technical group in the door, so they're representing a lot of people as well. And this time, he's going to have to answer the questions that we're putting to him, which is basically what's happening to that money, and then after that, can he, because we asked him this the last time as well, can he set up a meeting with the European Central Bank Governing Council for us, for this representative group, so we can put the case to them directly for the write-off of these promissory note bonds in their entirety, up to €1 billion.
What do you think about in the press they're mentioning about 64 billion, there's no hope of it for Ireland?
Well, the 64 billion is broken into 2 parts, right? The first bit is the promissory notes, that's 31 of the 64, and then there's another 33. So there's 2 separate negotiations. There's a negotiation on the 31 billion, which is essentially this. There is a further negotiation on the remaining 33 billion, and the ask there would be that a certain amount of that would be returned to Ireland through one mechanism or another. The government keeps saying it can happen, I've yet to hear anyone in a position of influence in Europe do anything other than laugh at that prospect. Who knows?
All right, thank you very much.
What happened was that back in 2009-10, Ireland was forced to put a noose around the people at a level of 32 billion in order that the euro system could lend to a busted bank that amount of money to redeem speculators in secondary markets. That 32 billion now has its existence in the form of promissory bonds, which replaced promissory notes. And that is a false construct. It should be cancelled, and the liability to the euro system, a liability imposed on the Irish people, should be also cancelled. It's a cancellation of the prom bond and a cancellation of the liability to the euro system. It can be done, and it should be done. The promissory note was a shorter duration, a shorter maturity than the promissory bonds. It's like asking or saying that we now have a replacement of short-term, say, Chinese torture by long-term galley slavery, financial galley slavery for the Irish people, to the extent of about 30 billion, and that's not right. So I'm here to do my best for the people, to right a wrong.
Our politicians have played the country as the good boy. There are many ways of looking at it. You could say the country was held to ransom. We had to take on the debt of what were zombie banks. The news article, the government are saying we're doing great, thank you very much. Our credit rating is improving all the time. We're back in the markets, whatever that means to anyone that's trying to struggle to pay their mortgage or feed their kids. But we're back in the markets. It's very hard for Europe or for the argument for a fair deal for debt when they're hearing from our government that everything's great, we're paying our way, and there is no protest. Ireland hasn't been fairly treated, but the government has not played the right game. If you say everything's fine, it's very hard to negotiate bank debt from that position.
Marcus Howard, test 1, 2, 3.